Welcome back to Level 3 Studio, aka Chef Jay's Kitchen, where you feed your body, feed your mind, without a doubt, feed your soul. G, when was the first time you realized you were black?
When I was 2 years old.
What happened? Like, for real?
Yeah.
What happened?
I was rapping. I just knew.
You just knew somehow.
You feel me?
Like,
it was just
a
in
gift
me.
from God.
It was not even that. I was rapping somebody else's song. But I just,
Do you remember the song?
Yeah, it was Crisscross. I had flavor. And my grandma was just telling me the story yesterday. But
really?
yeah, I knew I was black then.
Interesting.
I was around all black people. It was lit. It was love. Yeah.
You have a memory of being 2 years old?
Yeah, I got memories before then.
Really?
Legitimate.
Like really?
On
like
my
really
daughter's
believe?
soul, I do. Not a belief. I remember it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Like 7 months.
You have a memory of being 7 months old?
On God.
What? This is a legendary moment. No, it's a legendary moment.
We hopped in. How can I pull that out my ass?
Yeah.
You feel me?
What happened? Like,
The memory of 7 months old?
Yeah.
I was standing outside my grandparents' bedroom. Billy the Kid was on TV. We talking 91 probably. Yeah, I was doodling in a pamper on myself.
That's
really,
iconic.
I was standing up. Yeah, like I really remember that.
That's iconic. I digress.
Some Rugrats type shit.
I digress.
I digress. To my left, to Ryu, I am my brand. That's all he's got. To my right, Manuela. You didn't even give me anything. Now I look at the paper. Did you say something?
I'm just an immigrant trying to get your country together.
Oh!
Damn.
That was beautiful. That's the problem. To Wilco, I got to come back to that. We'll dive into that. To her right, who's to her right? Alexis, networking, bilingual communicator, lover of education. To her right, Sydney, brand manager, occasional chef, lover of people, and across the table, my dog G Watts. It's been a long time coming. I've known G. We've known each other for probably like a solid 10, maybe 12, 13, maybe 15. How old are we now? 27, 13, 14 years. That's crazy, man. Pull this pad rough.
12, 13 almost, something like that.
And then me and Lexi been friends since 13.
How did y'all meet each other?
Orlando's. Yeah, back in the day, being kids, that was the homie.
The classic.
Yeah, we were too young to be in there. I don't think we were supposed to be in
We
there.
probably wasn't supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
No.
Orlando's was so, I don't even want to take the combo here, but I just got to, Orlando's, because once you go there, you can't come back. So I'm just going to digress. G, what do you spend your time doing, man?
I spend my time
What do you spend your time doing?
trying to be better than I was the day before, if I can keep my mind to that, That's what I try to do, honestly. Not to be overly deep or nothing like that, but then at the same time not to try to make it overly simplified, but honestly just every day that I can remember trying to be better than I was, catch myself when I fall. That's me. That's what I try to do every day.
What I was going to go the other way, but I'll ask you this way. Like, what makes that so difficult? And you're speaking a little quieter, which is fine. Just come a little closer to the mic. What makes that so difficult?
To try to be better every day?
For you personally?
For me personally, yeah. I feel like life is a beautiful thing. It is the best teacher, but it can only teach if you're willing to learn. And the moment that I believe that there's nothing to be taught is the moment that I fail myself, basically. And so I know, if I'm being real with myself, that there's no way possible that every day I can wake up on 100. With the world that we living in, where all the different stuff that's coming at us continuously, it's physically impossible for me to wake up and legitimately be that way. I gotta program myself to remind myself to try to do that, So that's really why. It's a little bit of myself and just the world we live in.
Yeah. I think that's tough, man. Learning that, like, and I fight that battle every day too. That every day is not gonna be a great day, and that's okay. You know, like we kind of program ourselves to think like, oh, something's wrong with me, or something's wrong with my environment if I'm having a bad day. Instead of just saying, yo, the good with the bad. I'm gonna take the blessings out this day and roll with it.
I agree with you.
Sydney, Alexis, what do y'all spend your time doing? What is like a great day? Like, what did you do to have a great day? What's something you did?
For me, a great day, I would say, is when I'm productive, when I'm positive, and when I've done something to aid somebody else in their life, to help somebody else, to assist somebody else, to service someone, to bless somebody else. I've had a wonderful day.
What does that look like? Or what's an example been like specifically?
So lately I've been back on my motivation. But I think that it means so much to me that people come to me that I don't even know and they say, I look forward to your messages every day. You've been an inspiration to me. Or I couldn't do it today, and this message was the message that I needed to make it through the day. That I have a wonderful day after that. I could be having the worst day ever, but for one person to come to me and tell me, you did this for me today just by this message, or you inspired me through what you said or what I heard, or that, I mean, that's a wonderful day for me. Being productive in my business or being productive at work, helping out other employees, it's a good day for me. When I can help somebody else, I'm good.
I love it.
My turn. I would have to say a great day for me is knowing when I left work, I changed a kid's life. So I work at a middle school, and it's a Title I. You guys know what Title I is. It's in KCK, so you know they don't have a lot, and they go through a lot every single day. So I think when I leave at the end of the day and I get a kid that says, Miss Linus, you really helped me control my anger. You really helped me sit inside the classroom and actually do my work. Because before you came here, I wasn't doing anything. And I think that is, I don't know, that's fulfilling for me. That's when I know I had a good day.
I would agree. You know, I'm in the trenches
Right?
with you. Hey, working in
We
the
come
dot,
through a
boy, is
lot.
no joke.
They come with 3, 4,
Oh my
5
God.
different personalities. They are one person at the beginning of the hour, and they are a totally different person at the end of the hour.
But just like you were saying, G, if you allow it, they teach me more on a day-to-day basis than anybody else.
Right.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Because they bring their true, raw, authentic self because they like we were just talking a little bit ago, they haven't developed the discipline to know when and where to say what things and how to, like, they just like, hey, you gonna get the truth at all times.
Yeah,
So you're like, yo.
And they don't know
All right.
structure.
Right.
They don't know what it's like to be in a structured environment. So everything for them is offensive. Like I could say, like, do your work. Don't you talk to me like that. What? I just said do your work. So,
But do you think a majority of us go through life being defensive though? Like,
Yes.
do any of us like really grow out of that?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Why do you think that is?
That's a question I can't quite answer right now, but I feel like it has to do with how you talk to somebody and how that message comes off for them to feel like they have to defend themselves or not.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I feel like we never evolve out of that. But at the same time, I believe that it's a challenge to get yourself out of that because when you collaborate, you have to be able to understand and take feedback. And then sometimes, like, their ideas can take it to a whole new level. And you're like, nah, that shit
We have our
is
mind
nowhere
made up
near.
for you.
Yeah, we have our mind
Yeah.
made up, So sometimes we can take that and, like, we take offense to and get defensive. But I think at the same time, if we challenge ourselves to not get so defensive, you can grow a lot more.
Maybe just throwing some shit in the game.
Why you here, my brother?
I'm not old enough to say when people haven't been defensive, but I am old enough to remember when people used to speak more harshly to everybody, and it might not have been taken offensively. I got cussed out like it was going out of style almost every day of my life, one way or another. And I still would go to school with people who told me I was the most arrogant asshole they might have ever sat beside. And you can attest to these types of things, Shit, to me, I wasn't arrogant at all. and I was getting tore down. However, just the society that I came up in, or the time I guess you could say I came up in, might have breeded me to have a tougher skin or a thicker skin to where, like you said, I can hear a teacher telling me and decipher if you telling me this with some type of love or if you telling me this being an asshole. Whereas nowadays, it just seems like society has gotten softer over time because we coddle everybody. We allow people to infect us with these opinions that really don't hold no merit, zero merit, and then they take that and then that's law. And so we've gotten to a point now where last place gets a trophy, and kids don't understand that it's a real world out here, and in life it's winners and losers, and you gonna be one of the two.
Right.
Ain't no in between. Ain't
Right.
no in between.
Yeah.
And then they gonna grow up and get hit in the face and see when the real shit happened, because their whole life they've been growing up getting participation trophies, you know? And so, like you said, when I'm just trying to, do your work, because if you don't, you gonna fail the fuck out, and then your ass ain't gonna get into no college, then you gonna be on some dead end shit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Instead of seeing that these kids are defensive and society is defensive. I don't want to dominate the convo, but
No,
just
speak-
to piggyback on that, I feel like
Speak your mind. One thing I want to ask you, man, growing in music, how have you balanced that line of like taking feedback? Music is very personal. Both of y'all do music. I don't know if all of y'all in like your arts. How do you balance the criticism of like taking feedback, especially from people whom you love, who you really want their feedback from, and taking that and learning how to interpret that and really build yourself from that feedback?
Can I go, y'all? I know I just was running it. Because I don't want to run it. But, man, for me personally, honestly, I feel like I'm my own biggest critic. You know, my old lady is sitting there. She can attest to it, been with me through the trenches of life. Nobody be as hard on Big Watts as Big Watts is. You know, just in
Facts.
everything, no. Yeah. So for me...
Is it in a healthy way, though? You do it in a healthy way?
It got to be healthy, I feel, because I'm not dead. You know, I'm not stressing to the point of where I want to blow my brains out. You ain't never seen G be suicidal. And that's not to joke about that, because that's serious. But clearly I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
And so my whole 1-2 with that is, as a artist, a creative, as a person that's just producing something that I would like other people to receive, I got to be honest with myself first. And so I know when I'm coming into the music, because that's what the question was asked, I know what sounds to me A1, and I know what the hell I'm giving to people. And I know what variables might be blocking that, but at the end of the day, the people that's listening don't give a damn about that. You competing with this nigga, my boy, and this nigga. So do it slap like that. Do it sound that good. Even if you is saying some cool shit, is it up to par? I have to have an honest convo with myself. Yeah, it's my content, it's my quality competing with what people are able to go out here and get. If I was cutting hair, it'd be the same hype. If I was making clothes, it'd be the same hype. But again, society has gotten so soft that people don't be real with themselves, and then they want to point fingers and blame everybody else for their shortcomings instead of looking in the mirror and being like, maybe I'm not turned up enough. Maybe I don't go hard enough. Maybe I'm fucked up because I've not been doing what I'm supposed to do. So that's how I can take criticism or somebody that say something to me, because 9 times out of 10, I already criticize myself. You know, because I'm able to halfway, you know.
You've already accepted enough in yourself, so when someone gives you that feedback, they add to it rather than that first.
I'm like, shit, you probably right.
Yeah,
You know?
right. You've already processed that that's a possibility.
So, really
No, you
quick.
good. You good.
Take your time.
Back to...
You get to take your time.
Okay, I'm going to take my time. So, back to the discipline. I'm a firm believer of, as young adults, we grow up learning that we're either going to be like our parents and be like our influencer, or we're not. We want to take their traits or we don't. So I feel like the discipline comes in, or not the discipline, it comes from a place of, the defense comes from a place of, these are the habits that I grew up seeing, and I don't want nothing to do with it, or I got so much I want to say. So I think it's, for me, I grew up seeing things that my mother got upset about, and I always learned, that's stupid. Why would you get upset over something so small? I'm not going to be like that. Mm-hmm. So I think as a child, you learn either these are things that mean a lot to me, and it's going to hold a lot of weight, or it's not. So as an adult, like you were saying, you see other people, our society is now super sensitive. I think we're super sensitive because the generation that raised them didn't learn how to pick and choose what they were going to be defensive about.
Yeah.
So everything sets them off. Because, I mean, if you get to the root of the issue, as Black people, we get defensive about certain things now because we didn't go through the things that our parents and our grandparents went through.
Yeah.
You know, my grandma tells me not to do something, and I go and do it. Well, she's upset for a different reason than I'm upset. I'm upset, and I've never been through that. I've never had to. I have, but you know, the magnitude of it doesn't hold as much weight as it does with your grandmother, grandfather. So I think the defense is a lot different for us. I think we haven't been through anything. Like you said, we haven't been through enough. And that's because we're getting taught by a generation who didn't go through what the generation went through before them.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just, it gets hit.
It's real. We've had a pretty copacetic life.
And worse and worse.
We've
And
had
it
a pretty
gets
copacetic life.
more sensitive because we don't know what to be sensitive about. We don't know what, so we're sensitive about everything.
And that's the biggest thing. I think like it creates this sensitivity thing, this factor, but then it's like it creates a gap in communication between these older generations, our generation, the younger generations, you know? So how do you go about bridging that gap, knowing what you want to see, like the change you want to see in life? Like, how do you go about bridging that gap?
I don't got the answer, but I have an opinion. You
Right.
know, since it was just quiet, keep it rolling, right?
I love the quiet
I think
moments.
okay, my bad.
No,
it is
no.
your show.
No. I don't rush
Okay,
through.
I was gonna say, we
don't
can make a
force through
pin
it.
drop.
No, I don't force through
No
it.
doubt.
Yeah.
I would say just my opinion, it got to begin with self-reflection. Man, so much can come with looking in the mirror, I feel like. And again, that's just personal opinion. I ain't got the answers to nothing. But one of the sayings they say, be the change you want to see. I mean, that's right there in itself. So if a certain thing or aspect in the world that you want to see change, if you go out here and you know, subscribe to that belief system and make action on it, you know, you putting that out there. You know, so I feel like that's how you could bridge that gap, though, is just starting to look in the mirror knowing I don't know it all. Maybe I could learn from this. I could learn from that.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
Just a quick note, and then I would say we need to do our homework. Yeah. We really need to know, how do we get to this point in America? Like, I have basic assumptions. The thing that, like, as I get older, I realize what we were taught about civil rights and about the 60s, can you imagine how much was really happening day to day? Think about how much in your day-to-day life. That's just one individual life. We're talking about a whole civil rights movement, and we're told MLK, Malcolm X, that's the whole story, close the book, that's it. Can you imagine how much it was? I've been reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. I'm reading this thing like, God damn. So we really don't know. And I think if we have more context, like, okay, I do this, I go out late at night, granny snap, like, cause she had that fear if you out late, something bad gonna happen, and you trying to explain to her, I'm cool, I got it. But we don't really understand. We try to empathize with that fear that she has, but we don't allow ourselves to really sit and soak in and think, okay, she was doing that out of serious survival. Let me empathize with the fact that if she would not have stayed in home, I wouldn't be here today, because she might have lost her life, you know, and like really looking at it from that perspective.
I'll say, kind of speaking on that, I'll say our grandparents are like more scared now because we got to worry about our own people. Like back then, what they had to worry about, one race. That's all they had to worry about. Nowadays, it's like when you go out, you got to worry about your own people. You can be at a gas station just chilling while your own person, your own kind, take you out or try to rob you. Back then, back in them times, they were scared of one person that was a Caucasian color. So they knew when they was in danger, knew they was in trouble. Nowadays, you just walking around, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to look.
I feel like our culture reinforces that, and then we celebrate it. We reinforce don't trust anybody, and then we celebrate it. What was that song? No new friends. No. What? How many of y'all I met in the last 6 months? Who in here I met in the last 6 months? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? But we internalize that. I feel that, man. That's so true. Manuel, I ain't gonna let you out this situation because you came for the country heavy off top. She was like, yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna digress.
Can we lower that mic just a little bit?
She just subtlety. She's like, lower the mic, please.
Well, to add on, I understand, like, the key difference between me and my mom is that she was born and raised in Africa, and I was just born in Africa, and I came here when I was at the age of 2. So I'm basically Americanized. So we go head to head with a lot of just issues and just lifestyles. Like, she doesn't understand the music I listen to. She doesn't understand when when I'm, like, out real late with my friend just having a good time. Like, she just doesn't understand a lot of American culture because she didn't grow up in it. Like, she's not as open-minded as I am, for instance. So when it comes to our arguments, they're really passionate because I'm trying to get her to understand my side while she's trying to get me to understand hers. And as angry as I can be on my mom, like, I can't be mad at her for the way that she thinks because it's not her fault. She's a product of her environment, and so am I. So I think sooner or later we're just going to have to sit down and have a face-to-face conversation, and I'm going to have to tell my mom, like, look, I understand you grew up in a country that I know nothing of, don't know the culture, don't know the people, but at the same time, like, I didn't have the options to come here. You know what I mean? Like, you brought me here. So sometimes I feel like she penalizes me or attacks me, and it's like, you brought me here at the age of 2. I didn't ask to be here. So it's just a conversation that I have to have and be willing to understand her side, and she has to be open and willing to understand mine. So
What's the thing she tells you the most?
she reinforces schooling me daily. Like, I think that's the thing with immigrants or parents of immigrants. My mom didn't have anything growing up. So her growing up in the village with me being pregnant, she had to walk 5 to 10 miles to school each day because that's all they had. That was her only way to even come to this country. She came here because she was recruited as a French teacher. So as much as I didn't understand growing up, I definitely understand now why she reinforces education so much in me. So with modeling, for instance, she doesn't take it seriously because, well, first of all, I'm not making any type of money from it. And it's like, what is it teaching me? What knowledge is it giving me? How can I instill that knowledge in others or instill it in my kids? Where is my degree? Where is my certificate? When can she watch me walk across the stage, graduating, standing up, being proud for me? So I really understand. So that's what every day, even though, like, I tell her my passion, she knows what I want to do, I still got to go to school because I don't want to let her down. As much as I believe that I should be doing what I want to do, I can't do that to my mom because I understand, you know? So that's just what I have to go through.
Have y'all faced that moment where you realize you just gonna have to let your peoples down because you got to do your thing?
Yep.
Did y'all have?
I think it depends on what parents you have because some parents, like my mom was like straightforward. She was like, I already know you don't like school. Like I'll say my 9th grade year, barely went to class. And like you said, piggyback off you, we're in a time where they just pass you, no kid left behind. They don't care about nothing. So like 9th grade, was skipping class with the homies, everything like that, didn't care. They pushed me on to the 10th grade. 10th grade, pretty much the same damn thing. 11th grade came, pretty much the same damn thing with the class here and there. By the time I was in 12th grade, it was like, nigga, you're not graduating. Or you got to do Play-Doh. Play-Doh was an alternative thing for us to graduate. So it took that in me to really, I guess, get to where I had to be in myself. And my mom knew that. So she was just like, as long as my kids graduate high school, college, you don't have to go. So, I mean, I did go to college, but I noticed I didn't mess with college. Like, when I went in math class, I was like, oh, yeah, I don't need none of this. And I just walked out. And then I seen my cousin. Yeah, I seen my cousin literally come in. Like, she was only there literally 2 days. And then I didn't see her no more. I called her. She was like, oh, yeah, I don't need that no more. So I was like, oh, yeah, I guess we all just said, fuck it. So, so it was like, it was kind of hard because my grandparents looked at her side of her kids like, oh, y'all didn't go to college and everything like that, when we had another side of her like sisters and brothers' kids went to college. So we was like looking like the kids that just didn't give a fuck. So we like, yeah, we don't care.
No,
so like
knowing
that,
what you know now, would you have done school differently?
No, because it made me who I am now. Right. Like, I'm like 23, got my own business, been having my own business for 2 years, going on 3. I have the full support of my family and my friends. plus more now. I'm like I say my life story is an inspiration to younger people that don't like to go to school, don't like to like do this and that, because I would tell a person straight up, college isn't for everybody. School isn't for everybody. You got entrepreneurs out here that never went to school a day in their life, but they're making more money than half the people went to college. So it's
Major
like,
facts.
never try to, I was just talking to a friend, never try to please your parents of going to college. Never try to force yourself, because college isn't for everybody. So now you're wasting your time trying to please somebody, and your life just flew by. So now you're in debt, and now you're miserable now because you didn't do what you really want to do. If your parents can understand that, you got to force them. If they can't, then it is what it is, because it's your life, not them. When you die, you're dying by yourself. When you came in this world, you came in this world by yourself. So you don't have nobody else but yourself.
Facts.
Can I chime in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go off of her with immigrants. So I'm half Mexican and I'm half African American, and I think being a Mexican American, they push you to, like my dad. It was always college, 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 college. Why? Because he came here with nothing. They didn't have education. They didn't have scholarships. They didn't have the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, shoot, if you don't go to college, then what did I jump the border for? If you don't go to college, what did I put all this hard work in for? And then my African American side, it's like, okay, well, my mom, she's very school driven. Like, she's a principal, so it was always school, 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 college, college, college. But in that culture, that mindset, they don't know what it feels like to just come. So it's like, oh, okay, college, that's what's up. You going to college, that's what's up. But then in our immigrant side, it's like, nah, college, that's one thing they can never strip away from you. They can take your green card, they can put you back in your country, but they can't take away that degree. And so I think that's where it's like a little bit different. That's like, okay, one side is like, dang, you gotta go. The other side is like, okay, if I don't go, it's okay. Then I'm like back like, but you making me feel bad, because then I'm like letting you down. So, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. So.
What was you gonna say, Jay? You was gonna say something.
Sydney can say.
I think I don't have immigrant parents, but I can say that knowing both of my parents, neither one of them graduated from college, but my mom is a boss-ass bitch, okay? But I digress. I think knowing both of my parents the way I do now on a more mature level, I think that they not only want you to go to college for that piece of paper, they want you to go because they didn't have these options that we have now to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
So
That's
that
the
paper
biggest
held
difference.
so much more weight then.
Right.
Now, you can go be
You can
a
figure it out.
multimillionaire within the next 50 days.
You can really figure it out.
They got Instagram tutorials for you to do that.
I don't know if the rest of y'all have.
Yeah, YouTube channels to teach you how to do that. But they didn't have that. So
Exactly.
a degree for them was like,
That was
you
it.
made it. Nigga, we made it.
Right.
Like, you got a degree.
God.
So now I think for us, it's like, I don't need that, but let me do it because I'm going to please them. So I think for us, we have to have that mentality. Okay, look, I know what I want to do as far as an entrepreneur. I know what I want to do for myself, but it's going to take that degree to get me there. I don't care what nobody say. You always got to have a backup plan. And if a degree is your backup plan, then take that degree seriously, because you got to get it. And I'm preaching to myself right now, because you got to get it, and then do what you're going to do from there on out.
Right,
and
right.
take that seriously.
Let me ask you. I don't know if the rest of you have children, but I know y'all are raising daughters in this world, man. As black men, how do you want to help your daughters either navigate that educational system, knowing what you know now, or just the world as you know it?
Man, the world as I know it. Prior to having a daughter, I was just reckless with women, like not trying to say anything bad, but, I didn't care as much, But after having a daughter, I realized that it's all about nourishing their minds, their bodies, their souls, like making sure they're eating healthy, making sure they're physically fit, making sure their mind evolve, and all the way bringing it to education. I feel like when you basically when you instill these good habits of building an education in a woman, in a daughter, in my daughter, it makes me proud, because knowing that the direction that I gave you to fulfill and change your life and elevate you in new ways that I was not elevated in my time being your age, you know, it's fulfilling. It makes me proud as a man. It makes me proud as a father, and it makes me proud as a person who can influence the next generation of people through women, you know. So
Do you fear letting her down?
I don't fear letting her down. I feel like I can't let her down. Like, she smiles and laughs and loves me regardless when I had nothing. So anything that I give her is like, it's more than enough, you know. But now in my mind, it's like legacy. What do I want to give her that is beyond, like, when I'm gone, like, what is she going to really look back at and be like, wow, my father was this
Triple
ABC, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want her to be proud of something, you know? So now it's about, like, how can I instill that? And it's the good habits that I'm forming, the good connections that I'm building. And from there, like, honestly, the knowledge that I'm instilling into her from wisdom and education, you know?
For me, raising a daughter is the greatest. Having my daughter was the best thing that ever happened to me. When I was only thinking about me and me only, not necessarily having somebody that I felt depended on me. Other people, nobody depended on my ass, you know. If I would have died, people might have cried for a little bit, but it would have been back to regularly scheduled programming. If I died now, it's somebody that's affected by that for pretty much ever. And realizing that made me change how I maneuvered, how I moved, how I did everything. And like we said at the beginning of the conversation, my daughter, I feel like, teaches me more than I'm teaching her at the moment. She would disagree with that because I, teach her trivial things. But I was just having a conversation with my boy about raising daughters, and it's such a fragile, delicate, complicated, complex thing as a man, a black man, a masculine man, raising a feminine energy, you know what I mean? And I want her to be feminine, but that's what I want. But I know what I should want, which is her to be whatever she's trying to be, as long as it's her being the best that she can be. These are things that I don't know nothing about because I'm not a woman. So I just try to shower her with love. By the grace of God, she got a beautiful mama, an intelligent mother, somebody who can show her how to be a woman, and I can step into my role, which is you spread your wings and know that nobody's going to rain on your parade as long as I'm breathing, and try to fund and help, give her the access to the things that's going to allow her to be the best that she can be. Time will hopefully make me a better daddy, but at the moment, I feel like that's my main focus, is just showering her with love and then instilling in her mind that, she's protected regardless of what she say, what she do, how she think, any of that, because daddy will lay it on the line for her. But other than that, she really does more of the teaching. So,
yeah. Who in here has daughters? Does anyone have a daughter? No one has a daughter? Oh wow, y'all the only two in here. Y'all was speaking from the heart. I was locked in. I'm like, right there.
Nico, can I ask him a question?
I was like, oh man, I can't imagine, man. That's why I asked. I really can't imagine.
Can I ask him a question real quick? So, my dad asked me this, and this was deep. My dad asked me this. Well, actually, he shared with me this the other day. He said, because I grew up with my mom. I lived with my mom. So he said to me, I, as a man, had to figure out how to teach you how to be an independent woman and still dependent on your man as an adult. Mm-hmm. So how do you do that as a man? Because he says that I learned that for myself because he wasn't around.
How to be like independent as you age, but when you get to a point of maturity, be able to depend on a man in life?
So how to be also in a spiritual way. How to be an independent woman, but how to be submissive to a man, but still remain independent. Still remain keep your independence, but learn how to be submissive to your man.
Right.
So how would y'all do that?
I'll teach my daughter to be submissive to a man that is first submissive to her, because as the physical superior specimen, just physical, you know what I mean? We ain't talking about it mental. if you are equally yoked with my daughter mentally, you know that physically I got whatever it is. So I'll submit that and only deal with you on a certain level. And any man that ain't sophisticated enough to put that together, you don't need to submit to him. He still got a whole lot of growing to do, you know? And again, that's me speaking from an idealistic standpoint, because every day I'm trying to grow. You know, again, Shorty back there, she could tell everybody in here that I'm not perfect. But as far as my baby go, nigga to step to her best to be perfect. You under dig? But, so that's where I would go with it. The moment that you do become submissive is the reward that nigga get for being submissive. Right. And that's what we call him. You know what I mean? Until he earned the title of being a man or whatever the case may be. Right. But yeah, because society, I feel like, has done so much to my sisters. You know what I mean? So much to black women, while stealing so much from black women at the same time. Let me get my rocks off, please, Nick. Ariana Grande got a song called, look, check me. She got a song called The Woman is God, right? She pontificated this information from the Hotep community that social media love to drag, right? But this ideology came from these ashy niggas or whatever the case is who said, yo, our sisters is God. They are the progenitors of life as we know it in human form. The scientists will tell you that. It don't take niggas to say it. White folks subscribe to this ideology. But nobody would say that the woman is God, let alone the black woman is God, right? But every time we turn around, you know, they are done scandalous, made to look wrong, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I won't go off, but fuck Ariana Grande for taking this ideology that is rooted in uplifting my sisters and then going out here and commercializing it for itself while people, you know, demonize this community that birthed this knowledge, this mentality that our women are deities, that they should be looked at like that. And not just any woman, you know what I'm saying? Just like any man ain't a man. Just because you got, you know, genitalia don't make you a man. So, yeah, I love my sisters. And, you know, they go through so much. But I just had to get that out there, man.
I don't know if any of y'all love Olivia Pope like I do, but I will never, ever in my life forget the scene where she is talking to her daddy and they are crying. And he asked her, what do I tell you? And she says, in tears, she says, you have to be twice as good. And he says, to get what? She says, you have to be twice as good to get half of what they get. Mm-hmm. I was like, ooh.
Oh, that was deep. Had my wine in my hand.
Right. But real, twice as good to get half.
I grabbed my cup, but I ain't had nothing in it because I need it.
This is the one thing I'll take, and then we'll digress. Well, it was two. I wanted to. I don't know. This is my problem. Sometimes I'm a good host. Sometimes I just flow and I get caught in the story too. The point I wanted to talk more about was like the creative pursuits. That was he got you. Well done. The creative pursuits, and I'm curious how each of you navigate your creative pursuits. As I think a big audience of ours as a platform is creatives or those that are actively trying to build something on a day-to-day basis. So what do your creative pursuits look like, and like what skill sets are you really honing in
on? Well, with modeling, with me, it's a lot of studying and rehearsing behind the scenes. So with me, I have a regular 9-to-5 job like anyone else, Monday through Friday, and I'm a student. But I always make time to study my craft in between, you know, breaks at work or breaks from homework. So every day I'm studying a new catwalk, either Naomi Campbell or Yasmin or Tyra, or I'm studying new poses from Coco. She's like my favorite model because she just does endless poses. I'm taking feedback from my closest friends and family because I really doubt myself. So I'm always trying to figure out how could I look better. I always look at my pictures and basically envision myself in that shoot and try to touch on one pose that I could have improved, one facial expression that I could have done differently to bring the vision better to life. So I'm always looking at other models' pages as well. Like I love to, that's why I really make it a goal to follow models or fashion designers, people within my industry, because it helps me a lot with becoming the model that I am daily, because I see what they're doing. I see what they go through. I can relate to them on a deeper level than I can with anyone else. So I just make sure to take in everything that I consume on social media, the good and the bad, to better myself as a model, as well as taking advice from photographers. Whether it's positive criticism or negative, I do appreciate it either way, because people don't have to waste their breath on me. So that's just what I do.
It sucks.
You looking at me?
Wow.
Well, what I do is, I would say more so like how she said, study. With me owning my own brand, I should say, and it's not even just me being my own brand, it's me inspiring myself and inspiring other people. So I should say I'm more studying what the brands are doing and what designers that I look up to are doing, and how can I make myself better. So like he said, looking in the mirror, you are your biggest critic. Like I say every day I wake up, like I ain't gonna fake. It's been times I literally woke up and cried because I'm like, dude, are you even doing this right? Is this really what you want to do? Is this your dream? Is this your passion? But I have to teach myself like, yeah, because obviously you waking up crying. So ain't no man gonna cry over a passion or something if he don't believe in it. Mm-hmm. So it's like I have to take those and actually put them in like myself and my heart to be like, okay, this is the next design, this is the next collection, next capsule. This is what I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. So it's all built in yourself. Mm-hmm. I would say that's how I take it. Mm-hmm. It's self love, damn near.
Like real honest question, could all of you say like you really love yourself?
Yes, I can.
Has it been a process?
It has.
In fact, speak on it if you will.
Man, please.
Not really so much a process, but I would have to give my parents all the credit, because my dad and my mom always made sure to tell me what my self-worth was. Ever since I was like 2. Like, Lex, you are beautiful. And I had an older brother too that I was scared of. So that helped a lot also. And he always reminded me like, Lex, your body is your temple. Lex, you are beautiful. Lex, do you know how awesome you are? Do you know how creative you are? Outgoing? Do you know how funny you are? And I had to really like hone in on that. Like, okay, what about me do it? Like, what could I say if I was behind a curtain and I had to sell myself? What could I say about myself? Like, what is it about me that I'm so passionate about within myself? And so I think now I just turned 25. But now looking at an age, like that's a big age. And a lot of people don't love themselves. Like some people stay in relationships and they think that this relationship should work. And I had to go through that. I was in a overdue relationship and I'm like, do I love myself or am I putting up with this? Like, can I sit back and look in the mirror and be like, Lex, do you really honor who you are? Or are you just gonna let this man keep doing what he's doing to you? So it took a long time to understand it. I knew it, but for me to look in the mirror and own it, put it into action. But can I sit here and look at I'm confident, like, girl, I talk in third person sometimes. Be like, girl, you love yourself. I love myself.
You got to close us out.
Well, I just want to commend these 2 men for just being amazing fathers, it sounds like, for their daughters. Like, I didn't grow up without a dad, never got to know him, don't even know if he's alive or not. So just sitting across from y'all is like, it's kind of like emotional, but I'm not going to go there because what you guys are doing for your daughters can't be paid for. Like, I would, if I could just like give my whole arm or leg, like I would, to have a relationship with my dad. And to go off of what she said, I'm happy that you have self-love. That's a beautiful thing. I admire women like you. And then it's just like women like me that grew up daddyless, and it's like we're still trying to figure ourselves out. And I didn't know that I didn't have self-love until, like she said, I was in an overdue relationship. And just like the men that I choose to be in my life, they don't value me. Like, they put me on the back burner, and I'm like cool with being like the side chick or the girl that stays around until they're ready to commit to me. I do everything for them ahead of time, and and I don't realize that it's supposed to be an equal effort. I'm giving 100%, they're giving 25, but I'm taking that 25 and running with it. Like, this is the best thing in the world. Like, at least I'm loved. So, like, my biggest fear is just being abandoned. So it's like I cling to every man because of that. So again, I commend y'all, because not every man is like y'all in this world. So anybody watching, if y'all trying to have kids, like, please make sure the person you're having kids with is somebody that will stay in your kid's life and raise them to the best of their ability. Please, like, that is so important.
I'll say this to you: the fact that you are able to, like, express that, identify that is big in my personal opinion in itself. You know, the fact that you're able to say you letting men treat you undeservingly, you're able to identify the problem before we can address the issue. We got to know what the issue is at first. And so you on your way already, and you young. Like, all of us in here is babies. I don't see too many decrepits. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
We got time.
In the grand scheme of things, you got a lot of time. So we put these fake clocks on ourselves. That's the American thing, the 18 years old. But, you know, for you at a young age to be able to identify that issue that you have in your life and move past it speaks to why you are what you are, which is the progenitor of all life, Black woman. You know what I mean? Real shit. That's why you God. You know what I mean? So shout out to you. Shout out to you.
That's a beautiful moment. We'll end on that. Hell yeah.